now pause. Council meeting order. If you be so kind, if you have a cell phone, if you place that cell phone on silent mute or off, would be greatly appreciated. And now be led in prayer by Madam Clerk, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Madam Clerk.
O God of might, wisdom and justice, through whom authority is rightly administered, laws enacted and judgment decreed, assist us, we beseech thee, that the city council may be conducted in righteousness and be eminently useful to thy people over whom we preside. Amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk.
Councilors Williams, Morgan,
Present.
West,
Present.
Jacobs,
Present.
Mayor Kirkland.
Present. Move for the approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second. Are there any questions? Madam Clerk.
Councilors Williams,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Jacobs,
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland.
Yes. At this time, we open up the microphone and podium for public comments. If you have public comments, we ask that you go to the microphone, state your name, your address, and your comments, and we ask that you stick to the 3 minutes. Hearing and seeing none. Madam Clerk.
Resolution, whereas the following individual has requested a handicap parking zone. Charlotte Adams, 2834 West 6th Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Whereas after a thorough investigation by the Department of Streets and Public Improvements, it has been determined that the aforementioned individual has met all of the required criteria and have a need for said handicap parking zone. Now therefore, the council of the city of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the proper city officials to install a handicap parking zone in the 2800 block of West 6th Street in the city of Chester.
So moved.
Second. Are there any questions? Madam Clerk.
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the council of the city of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the Department of Accounts and Finance to refund the sum of $500 to Francis Zani, 646 Vernon Road, Springfield, PA, 19064, which represents reimbursement for a violation paid in error on a property located at 2926 West 6th Street.
So moved.
Second. Are there any questions? Madam Clerk.
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the council of the city of Chester does resolve that it does hereby ratify the appointment of the following individuals to the position of patrol officer, Chester Police Department, Department of Public Affairs, effective September 25th, 2019, with a 1-year probationary period on a full-time basis, with all benefits applicable thereto, at the salary range provided in the annual appropriation ordinance. Number 1, Robert Schrock. Number 2, Robert Shaughnessy. And number 3, Michael Spicer. Further, said patrol officers are required to reside in the city of Chester for the first 2 years of employment and must submit proof of residency to the Human Resources Department. Excuse me for 1 second. Let me go back. Further, said patrol officers are required to reside in the city of Chester for the first 5 years of employment and must submit proof of residency to the Human Resources Department within 3 months of this date of hire. Thereafter, they may maintain their residence within 50 miles of City Hall.
So moved.
I second. Are there any questions? Madam Clerk.
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, whereas the city of Chester submitted project proposal or proposals to the PA Department of Environmental Protection, DEP. And whereas the city desires to make improvements on several projects within the city of Chester. And whereas the city has met all the requirements to obtain a portion of the monies collected by the DEP within the city of Chester. Now therefore, the council of the city of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the acceptance of the monies collected by the Department of Environmental Protection from the air pollution fines or civil penalties, with said funding to be used solely for the 2019 Berry Bridge Park and boat dock improvements. Further, any remaining funds shall be used for the McClurg and Octagon Park improvements. Further, it does hereby authorize the proper city official or officials to execute all necessary documents for said funds for and on behalf of the city of Chester. Even further, acceptance is contingent upon final review and approval of the city solicitor.
So moved.
Second. Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the council of the city of Chester does resolve that it does approve and order payment of a series of bills and refunds as prepared by the Department of Accounts and Finance and as shown on expenditure approval list dated September 12, 2019, attached hereto and made a part hereof, subject to approval from the Department of Accounts and Finance.
So moved.
Second. Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes. Madam
Bill?
Clerk, Madam
Yes.
Clerk, before you go into your witnesses, just
Yes.
want to make the announcement that number 5 resolution was removed from the agenda today for further review. Thank you.
Bill number 5, first reading was on September the 11th, 2019. Ordinance number 5 of 2019, an ordinance. An ordinance of the city of Chester, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, amending the codified ordinances of the city of Chester to repeal Article 535 entitled Residential Parking Permits in its entirety.
I move that we pass bill number 5 on its last and final reading.
I second that we pass bill number 5 on its last and final reading.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Bill number 6, first reading was on September 11, 2019. Ordinance number 6 of 2019, an ordinance. An ordinance of the city of Chester, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, amending Article 511 entitled Traffic Code of the codified ordinances of the city of Chester, Pennsylvania, 1978, to create merchant parking zones and residential permit parking programs, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent therewith.
I move that we pass bill number 6 on its last and final reading.
I second that we pass bill number 6 on its last and final reading.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Bill number 7, first reading was on September the 11th, 2019. Ordinance number 7 of 2019. An ordinance of the city of Chester, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, amending subsection 503.01 entitled Duty and Traffic Direction, to grant the Chester Parking Authority the authority to civilly enforce violations of the parking traffic code, and deleting subsection 503.09 and replacing it with a new subsection 503.09, providing for the administration and adjudication of parking violations, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent therewith.
I move that we pass bill number 7 on its last and final reading.
I second that we pass bill number 7 on its last and final reading.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Excuse me, Mayor, on the agenda, we also have bids, but I don't want to go into the bids if you're doing your swearing in first.
I'm gonna go to the-
Bids first, okay. Excuse me for one moment. Our bid openings today are for the Chester City Liquid Fuel 6th Street Bridge repairs. First one, J.D. Ekman Incorporated, 4781 Lower Valley Road, P.O. Box 160 in Acton, Pennsylvania, 19310. They have a 10% bid bond, and their amount is $249,370. Doing okay? Next company is Rollcon Incorporated, 902 Camaro Run Drive, Westchester, PA, 19380. Their amount is $444,400. With a 10% bid bond. They're all that I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
At this time, will you swear in our police officers?
Officer front and center.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good afternoon. I state your name.
Robert Schrock. Michael Spicer. Robert Shaughnessy.
Do solemnly swear
Solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution
the
of
Constitution
the United States of America
of the United States of America
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania
of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania
and the Charter
and the Charter
of the City of Chester,
of the City of Chester,
and that I will discharge
and that I will discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of police officer
of police officer
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations. You don't get off that easy.
Not that easy.
Talk to your constituents.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. My name is Officer Shaughnessy. I've been a resident of Chester for the past 10 years. I met a lot of good people being here, and I believe Chester is a very good place and has a lot of potential. And I chose to be a part of Chester Police Department to help make it a better, safer, and more enjoyable place for my family and yours.
I'm Officer Michael Spicer. I'm very thankful and proud to be here and be an officer at Chester. I'd like to thank the department and the council members for hiring me. I'm very excited and very proud to be a part of this community and make a difference. Thank you.
My name is Officer Robert Schrock. I moved to the city of Chester in January as soon as I got hired and started with the police academy. I look forward to helping to make the community safe for my family and your family. And the reason I wanted to be a police officer was to continue service to my community and country after I got out of the military. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to serve all of you. Thank you.
Oh, I'd like to say one thing. I'd like to thank the mayor and city council for allowing us to have it, giving us some reinforcements. Also, I'd like to thank the parents and family of these fine officers. We appreciate you guys loaning them to us. So they'll be busy for the next couple of years. So, thank you.
Can I have you guys come?
The next 25 years.
Leave on assistance.
No, you guys are fine. Could I have you come to and Chief Nolan and the rest of you? Thank you. Shift slightly to your left. You guys are in front, yes.
You want to
No, just get closer. Thank you. You want to take chill. Okay, thank you.
On behalf of mayor and council, we all too would like to thank not only the officers, but their families for being supportive of their loved ones in them starting their new careers here in the city of Chester. We appreciate you as well very greatly. Thank you. At this time, we're going to open the microphone for public comments. If you have public comment, perhaps you go to the microphone, state your name, your address, and your public comment.
Good morning, Danielle Jennings. I live on East 23rd Street, but today I'm here to represent our most vulnerable residents here in Chester. The parking meters and the cost of parking around the county assistance office on Crosby Street for our clients and our staff is causing a hardship because the price is $2 an hour to park, and our clients are trying to feed their families. So $2 an hour is a hardship for our clients. We have our staff, myself included. It's $2 an hour. That ends up being about, what's that, like $10, $16 a day. And we were wondering what can be done, or what will be done to assist our clients and of course our employees as far as the parking is concerned. And then there's the $35 ticket that you can't dispute for going over the meter.
Let me just start off by saying, first of all, good morning. We have started putting in place some rate changes, well, not rate, but the parking authority. We've had conversations with them, and so there will be some rate changes that will be made available to the public. And as far as being able to dispute, there's supposed to be, there's a system in place whereby you can go downstairs and if you have a dispute, provide them with the information, and they will give you a date certain so that you might dispute, to have the opportunity to dispute the ticket.
You say go downstairs where?
It's at the first office on your right as soon as you come in the front door.
When will the rate changes go into effect, and do you know what they're going to be?
That'll be answered by Mr. Irwin from the Park Authority, who's not here but he's downstairs.
His name is Irwin Lanier. So the city doesn't have anything to do with the parking and the meters? Am I understanding that correctly?
No, this is a company that has worked with the city, partnered with the city. They take care of all of our, take care of the meters and the parking.
Yeah, because I'm talking to Mr. Irwin.
Good morning, council. Good morning, all. My name is Phaedra Reed. I am a native of Chester, currently living in Chester Township, 1015 East Williams Circle. I am here representing also, we've been commissioned by our ED to represent Commonwealth employees for the Department of Human Services, all of us in the state office building, concerning the lot, concerning the parking meters surrounding our location at 7th and Crosby. We are, if you will, in a parking war with police department employees and those in that building, folks coming into our office, people we service, Social Security recipients, as well as anybody else who needs to visit those buildings there, Chest Pen, and possibly folks who know that our lot is free. So now those of us who work for the Commonwealth have nowhere to park. And as Danielle has stated, now we're having to pay $16 an hour for parking on the street or in the municipal lot across from the police office building. Our objective, what can be done to make sure that number one, we can fight the tickets we're getting, because there is nothing indicated on the tickets of how you can dispute it or anything. All it is pay $35. So we want to know, since that lot is specifically for Commonwealth employees, what can the city do to assist us in making sure that those who are parked there, who are not being serviced by the Commonwealth agencies and the Commonwealth staff, are not being ticketed. And speaking as an individual personally, I'm one of the ones ticketed.
You mentioned, Ms. Reed, you just mentioned that our law enforcement personnel are parking.
Oh, yes, sir.
Commissioner mentioned that.
Yes, sir. We've seen them hopping the fence to go over into the building.
Yes, sir, it was brought to my attention. I have issued a memorandum ordering all officers not to park in that parking lot. It's considered private property. I've also had a conversation.
Commissioner, can you step closer to the mic, because I can't hear you.
That was brought to my attention. I have issued a memorandum advising all staff not to park in that private lot. I've also had a conversation with the administration across the street from the police station, social services, and advised them if they find any officer parking their vehicle on their private property, they have our blessings to enforce their rules and tow the vehicle. So all our staff have been warned. I'd like to also state that they're not all city employees. As you're aware, there are several other organizations that utilize the building. I've also had a conversation with Judge Van. I believe the courts have informed their employees not to utilize that lot also. But I think conversations need to be had with other organizations that are utilizing that lot. That we have no control over. They're private.
Thank you. Would you also, Teresa, you have signage on your lot?
There is, right at the very entrance off of Crosby Street, there's a sign of the towing, the phone number, the address, and there's a small sign there that says the lot is set aside for DHS, probation and parole, and career maintenance. It's a small sign, but it is there.
Okay, I put two things on one. If you believe the sign is sufficient for those persons to visually see, and it does speak of towing, I would enforce that.
Okay. Thank you.
Not me enforce it, you.
I hear you. We're working on that, but we just wanted to make it known to the council that it's become an issue for those of us who are in the state office. The parking has become an issue.
Thank you. Before Mr. Before you speak, on the, whose ticket is it? On the back of the ticket, it says, to contest the citation, you may have an in-person hearing, or you may elect to be heard by mail. For more information about your options to contest the ticket, then it has a link and a website on the back of the ticket.
I'm sorry. Is that a new ticket? Because we've had people in our office ticketed who tried to get information to contest, and there was no information on the ticket that was handed out to them by the parking authority that rides around that van.
It's blank.
Yeah, it's blank, because we've had employees who have tried, and one of our employees told us today that when she came over to try to fight, she was laughing. The person laughed at her in her face, and she had to pay the ticket.
Well,
So is that new?
I don't know, this is somebody, I just got it myself.
Because I'm talking within the last month.
Mr. Lanier, you want to?
I'm sorry. Oh, you're here.
Yeah, actually, no, that's not new. Since May 5th, we've actually had the exact same ticket issue and citation. So if you don't mind, if they could avail me the opportunity to see the actual citation. It's very consistent. We haven't used any other citation since the inception of enforcement in May.
Okay, and since you're here, Mr. Kirkland spoke about rate changes. When are they going into effect, and what will they be?
Right, so we're hopefully within a month's time have the opportunity to we've listened, the mayor and council listened, and had the opportunity to change the rate. So the first 30 minutes, the first 15 minutes will be a quarter, which is what we've had the majority of our complaints for, and also the second quarter. So for the first 30 minutes, it'll be 50 cents, which is still below the standard for all of them. All of the local municipalities, most are beyond the 50 cents for the first 30 minutes.
Media's 25 cents.
If you want to continue that.
No, I'm sorry, but you weren't in. He said I had to ask him.
I know.
Since he's here, I'm like, I need to know. And you said it was in a month?
He's awful fast there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Morning, Mayor. I want to welcome supervisors and inspectors. And this question goes to Mr. Mendoza. Our city employees have plaques. When we go to court for our cases that we send over to court, they shouldn't. I don't think they should be receiving a ticket because we got city employee placards saying that we're city employees and we going to court for the city. But we're being ticketed, and I don't think that's fair to my employees. So what do you think we can do about that, Mr. Mayor? We got city employee.
I think you need to talk to the supervisor.
I am the supervisor.
No, he's the supervisor.
Well, my councilman.
You need to talk to him.
So that, because that's not fair for
Break
us.
that out.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, council. My name is Sean Hammonds, 1135 Hancock Street in Chester.
Sorry, Mr. Sean?
Sean Hammonds.
Oh, Hannah.
Yes. I would like to know where can I obtain a list of properties that Chester Redevelopment owns, because I went online and it appears that the list is outdated. So where can I find some new lists?
What list are you looking for?
The properties of the Chester Redevelopment Authority owns.
You can, downstairs we have a department, CETA, Chester Economic Development Authority. They have some listings on there of some of the properties that we own. And of course, if you're looking for any properties that are going to judicial sale or the repository sale, we also have some of those listings, but you can also go on the Delaware County's website and pull up that entire listing as it updates as well.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Hammonds, before you walk away, you did give me your address and I didn't hear it. Can you repeat it?
1135 Hancock.
1135?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Freddie Joe. I'm the Deputy District Director for State Parole, Chester District. Our office is at 701 Crosby Street.
Excuse me, sir, could you repeat that name? Your name?
My name is, I'm sorry, I'm speaking fast. Freddie Joe, Deputy District Director, yes, J-O-E. Deputy District Director of State Parole, Chester District. And we're at 701 Crosby Street as well. I appreciate everyone for speaking on the issue of the parking in the area, and I'm here again. I guess I feel like I'm repeating what everyone is saying, but we're in the same situation where we have all of the people who are required to report due to being under supervision. They come to our office. A lot of these guys are, just out of institutions. They don't have the resources, and if they do have, someone that's willing to bring them down, or they have an opportunity to borrow a car and come down, it is a hardship when someone has to try to now pay the park because they're obligated to come and see my agents, because if they don't, we violate them for not being in compliance with parole. So it is, it's a lot that goes into that. One of the other issues that we run into, with that being said, we have a smaller parking lot in the back, which our agents park in, but our overflow does go into the shared parking lot with everyone else. With that being said, I just want to know, would there be a possibility of considering maybe permits that would allow us to park at a meter, just have a sticker on our car that says, okay, if our car is there, that we wouldn't be ticketed. I'm not sure if that's even an option, but just something to consider going through the process. We have talked over and over with our reentrants as they come out to try to let them know of the situation with the parking, trying to make sure that they don't go and park in parking lots they're not allowed to park in, just because they're trying to avoid the ticket, because we realize that this is a growing problem. But we're just trying to find different ways to just relieve the situation. And again, I thank you for addressing it. And I just wanted to just let it be known that we are another group in that building that are struggling with the issue. Thank you.
Good morning. Yes, I'd like to make some comments. My name is Amin Abdul Salim, and the purpose here, or the intention, is to, we be effective. We be effective.
what our Lord is doing. We want to be connected with that and we want to be effective. There's quite a bit happening in the city here, and we want to address it. And we want to certainly be, I'm sorry, effective in what we're doing. Folks say it's more to this than meets the eye, and they are still just looking at the naked eye, not the intelligent or the spiritual eye. So we want to grow in that area so that we can be very effective in dealing with these things. And one of the issues here is that this shooting, certainly, until we address it effectively, then it's not going to stop. I mean, it simply has to be addressed effectively by us. If we do not arise to being effective, and the perpetrator continue his efforts of trying to lead, we're going to identify the true culprit of all this gradually. So I said we're going to move in that direction. We're moving in that direction. We're going to arrive there to identify the true culprit. So as we gradually move, one, let's say, for instance, right there, what is the bottom line? It's more than what you see. And we're going to grow in our understanding and intelligence. It says money, okay? That's what they were saying. And certainly there's a much there out there, money power. But, it says money walk, money speaks, and what is money saying? Let's say that money is saying, come as it is now in these hands, come to destructions, come to destruction. This is basically what they're saying with this whole saying, money talks and something else walks. Certainly. Money talk speaks to this mind that is corrupt, if you will, sorry, and this mind walks right to money. If money speaks this corrupt language, come to destruction, and the corrupt mind like that walks right to. Too many has gotten away, walked away from the word of God to this money that they influence. So certainly we want to turn the thing around. It's already turned around. We want to hear the word of our Lord. And once we hear the word of our Lord and start functioning and working on this, and our children are seeing, our youth are seeing some ownership. Everyone else owns except us. So they're going to see some great things that's going to occur to slow this, stop this thing. And there are many things. The old brethren, the children, they are oppressed. They said, listen, they said oppression is worse than murder. Now, our children, they were bad. Shooters in Carolina, trust me. They said the perpetrator that we're going to arrive to identify, they said oppression to oppress, a good aspiration in the people. They said oppression is worse than murder. So we certainly want to, that's the same. So with that, sir, that's all, sir. I just want us to be conscious of work in the right direction. Pleasing to our Lord. I will stop at this point, sir, and I certainly hope that we can, get involved in real work and just solve these problems, get these problems on down. Because if our children could, if they couldn't have our children, prep our children, their oppressor would have nothing that could prevent them from, because we have to grow in our own mind, our intelligence. Because they think that they have us, they don't have us. But our children, we're not allowed this. Old folks say, look, these children so bad that they'll tell the devil. And if the devil wants to try to build something, he cannot be done. It cannot be done. Our children cannot stop for that. What's going to have to stop our children is us. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Geraldine Thomas, 804 Ellsworth Place, Chester, Pennsylvania. I'm here because of the grow house that's going to be put in my neighborhood. And no one in the neighborhood knew anything about it. So, you know, if something was like that going to be put in the neighborhood, we should have had a neighborhood meeting. It's right across the street from a park that the children can't play in anyway because of the activity that has been prevalent in that area for the past 10 years. Just in August alone, on my block, there was 3 ODs with 2 deaths. And now we're gonna have a grow house at the end of the street, 3 doors up from where I live. We have abandoned houses, we've had fires, so I won't be able to give my house away because nobody wants to live over there. And also, no one in the community was notified, so they're gonna start building and tearing up that lot that has overgrown in the past 25, 30 years. When I first moved in that neighborhood, they played Little League and they played baseball. Now, they play nothing there, so it has overgrown. So now you're gonna start digging, we're gonna get field mice, we're gonna get raccoons, we're gonna get whatever else runs around at night in our homes, and we're gonna have to pay for that. So I'm really upset when I found out that it's been approved and there was no neighborhood meeting. Nobody on Elsinore, McDowell, Kingston, or anything was notified to tell us in the community that this was happening. Yes, there's a lot of transient people in and out, a lot of renters, but there are homeowners in that neighborhood, and we should have been notified. And I think it's really a shame that we wasn't. I mean, I used to stand out my kitchen window and see the drug deals go down, standing in my kitchen window, looking out on 8th Street. So now, we're gonna have a legal drug place and an illegal drug place. There's shootings, you can hear the gunshots, you don't know where they're coming from. So it's just gonna be really, really bad, and we weren't notified. And I think we should have been. Excuse me? No, the marijuana grow house, that's gonna be down at the end, exactly what it is and stuff, I'm not 100% sure, but I know, from what I understand, it's gonna be a marijuana grow house, that you're gonna actually grow marijuana there once they clear the lot and build the building. I understand, but no one in it, the community in that neighborhood, we weren't notified. No flyers were put on our door and said, please come to a meeting so we can tell you. I'm sure Reverend Harrell would have allowed us to be in his church to have a meeting if that was a elected place, but we didn't know. I had one of my neighbors, I'm at work during the day, so I don't know what goes around during the day, but one of my neighbors who happened to be home, she said she saw somebody surveying, so she's like, something's happening. I saw some of the surveyors out there. So I'm like, really? So, when stuff like that is going to affect the neighborhood, we need to know. It's across the street from the park that the kids can't play in because the guys are hanging around doing what they do, and the parents won't allow their kids to even play in the park. The grass is cut, but kids can't play in there because you don't never know what's going to kick off at any given time. And so now we're going to have this facility there. And once they start growing, the possum, raccoons, and everything's going to be all over the place. Field mice.
Ms. Thompson, I'm going to ask Mike and Monty to come and address some of it.
How you doing? Yeah, the grow facility that Eileen, what was your name? Geraldine was speaking of is actually it's a marijuana research facility. They did go through the planning process. There was a public notification in accordance with the MPC, and the project is actually still under review. Myself, I issued a comment letter to their engineer, and we're still going through that review process. A lot of the things that they'll be doing, those facilities are, just to give you a quick brief, they are very secure. They have a lot of high-level security surrounding them, so you will have cameras surrounding that area, which could help with some of the concerns that you're having in regards to some of the issues that you spoke of. But also, we require extensive buffering to the surrounding uses, and they're still working on their design, and it's still, you know, in the review process. It did get through the approval process as far as planning, zoning, and city council. So now they're on, you know, with their final approval process, which requires commissioner, solicitor, and myself to give the final approval before they go to building.
Will the community have an opportunity to address?
I think we could talk to the developer and see if they're willing to do that and have a public meeting just to get the community involved. I could talk to them, I can't guarantee, because at this point they have been fully approved as far as with their planning, zoning, and council sign off. All right?
Excuse me, before Mike, did you
Yes.
say that there was a public notice?
There is a public notification process. Peter Reichert, I don't know if he's here, but he would have been able to speak to the process that the city follows in accordance with the MPC.
And where would that be found? I mean, where would people from that community, how?
The meetings, I believe the meetings are advertised, and then Joan might be able to speak to it as well. Huh?
Daily
Times.
Times. Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, you said it's a medical marijuana research facility?
It's a research facility, and where they will research growing marijuana for various, you know, uses.
But again, the public notice is not welcoming the community to come in and have a meeting. It's just telling them what's going to happen.
Telling them that there is a hearing for this development.
Okay.
Which is standard for all developments within the.
And that's the meeting they can come to planning meeting and zoning.
Yes.
meetings.
Right.
That's the public meeting you're
Yes.
talking about.
And then it goes to council for final approval.
Thank you.
I'll make sure I definitely talk to I'll talk to them.
And Ms. Thompson is joking, class. I've had the pleasure of visiting these such type of facilities throughout the country. And the research, I heard you say something about like a drug house and all that, but these facilities provide a much needed medical help to young children. When I was in the House of Representatives, and I had the opportunity to meet some of those families and talk with those families and talk with those persons who were involved in the growing process and the process of medical marijuana, I was able to have a better understanding of what those facilities were doing and what they were producing and how they were helping change the lives of persons whose lives were very messed up physically. And that is why I supported it when I was in the House of Representatives, and I do support it now. You probably have one of the more secure areas in the city because of that facility. Do we have, do animals become unearthed? Yeah, in any process when there is construction going on. And that is something that we can, we can't regulate or do anything about because the animals are there. But I do know that once that facility, if it is completed, you'll probably have you'll be in one of the more secure and safe areas throughout the city.
Okay, thank you. And I did say drug house, I said grow house.
Because
my understanding was it wasn't going to be a medical facility, plus they was going to grow. And how much they're going to grow, I don't know, all those details. And as far as the notification and the zoning and the hearings, the Daily Times costs $2, and I know we all spend our money on whatever, but it's 2 pages, and I personally haven't bought a Daily Times in a million years. And if I did, most people don't even go to that page and look for a hearing, zoning, and the hearings and all that stuff, unless it's something that they're interested in. So that's all I was just saying, that we should need to know. And once, if it grows, comes up, and I'm sure and I understand that those facilities across the country are secure and everything, but it's just the part that we should have known.
To the mic, please. To the mic, please.
I say that there are also postings that go out into the community that will let you know that there is going to be a meeting about the particular project from the planning department.
No, I didn't see any on our trees or anything around my property. You know, I don't know. It might have been there, but I'm just saying I didn't see it. And I'm just speaking on behalf of myself and some of my neighbors that, you know, people talk to each other, but they don't come out. So I left work, I told my supervisor I had to go to city council meeting because I can't wait till next month for this, because it's on my mind. So I just left work and I had the ability to do that, and everybody doesn't. So that's why I'm here. Thank you. And we was talking about the parking, and it's a shame that you have to put a quarter, a dime, or a nickel to pay to park, to put a letter in the mailbox, because every single parking spot in front of the post office is taken up because it's free. So people who don't want to pay to park are at the post office all day long, because they don't have to pay. You have to pay a nickel when you walk across the street to mail a letter, because if you don't, you might get a ticket. Thank you.
You're welcome. I got leaders in Philly in the post office too.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leon Henson, and I live at 415 East 12th Street here in Chester. I am the director of the Generation of Destiny Mentoring Program here in Chester. We're located at 3012 West 3rd Street. As I look around, I see a lot of people I know, and also I see a lot of police officers, which actually goes into play with our next topic. We call it The Talk. It's a much-needed conversation with our young people about the police and the perceptions, also interactions, and the best way to bridge the gap between the two sides. We know that one of the biggest issues that Chester and other inner cities actually have is the miscommunication and misperception of the police with the community, and in some cases vice versa. So what we want to do is we want to be able to bring the two together, help gain an understanding. We're going to have an officer speak. Actually, Officer McLean will be there on Saturday. Like I said, we're located at 3012 West 3rd Street. It's Life in Christ Ministries. That's the location. And our sessions from 10:30 to 1. And I just want to invite everyone's children to come out. We deal with kids between the ages of 9 and 18 years old. At first, we actually were from 12 on up, but we're realizing, we're understanding that in a lot of cases, the younger kids are crying out too. One thing that we've noticed with our mentoring program is that a lot of our youth are angry, they're upset, they're frustrated, and they can't even articulate why, because in many cases, they don't know. But as they've sat and talked with us, and we have roundtable discussions about a myriad of topics, they're starting to open up. We start to see what's going on. We touch on this subject, we've touched on what it's like, for instance, to grow up in a single-family household, single-parent household. A lot of kids do it, a lot of adults have done it, but there's never really that conversation. And through that, we found a lot of pain, a lot of frustration, because this parent or that parent wasn't showing them the love that they needed, or giving them the time because they might be working, or they're just doing them. Or in other cases, it might have even been a situation where the other parent's just not involved. What we try to do as a mentoring program is not just take over your kids' lives, but we try to enhance what in many cases the parents are already doing, or even bring up different topics that the parents may not even thought of. And then think about how it was for most of us growing up. There's the conversations we have with our friends, or other people that we looked up to, and there was a conversation we had with our parents. We didn't talk about certain things to our parents because we didn't want to make them upset with us, we didn't want to make them angry, but we might have had that teacher or somebody else that we could trust, that we could open up to. We're trying to be that other person. And we just want as many people to partake in what we're doing as possible. I have more flyers to give out if anybody's interested. I also have brochures on our mentoring program. If you want to know more about us, you can go on our YouTube channel, Generation of Destiny TV. We actually have something that shows some of the interactions we have with the kids. It's not necessarily the sessions, but it'll be different activities we have during those sessions. Because the way we try to have our sessions is, we want it to be where the kids open up and everything's not totally put out there for the world's consumption, where they can be judged. We want it to be sort of like an in-house thing. Whereas the only way that anything that we talk about gets back to their parents is if it's something that's gonna put them or someone else in danger. And also we have a Facebook page, Generation of Destiny Mentoring Program. You can see each and every topic we've ever had. We have an Instagram page too, Generation of Destiny 316. So we're out there. We want you guys to see us so this way we're no longer a secret, because we've been around for 2 or 3 years and we want more and more activity and involvement. Thank you.
Thank you. I ain't starting with you, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mayor, John Linder, 592 Rainy Street. I came this morning, Mr. Mayor, one, to catch up with you, because I know you moved around and we talked about meetings. Two, to represent Delco United, and to let you know that Delco United, which is an agency that we developed, an organization that was developed to combat, not to combat, actually to help develop common sense gun legislation. And I wanted to just share this while I was here. I was just sitting there thinking, and I'm going to put this out here. One, we want to help. You know that. We've been back and forth with you here in the city, working on some things. We have regular meetings. A lot of people don't know that in the city. And we have rallies and so forth, which you've come to participate in. But some of the other things that we do is legislative education. We try to teach people what the state and federal legislation, the impact it has on local legislation, and how it can impact gun violence in our community. You need support, you need resources, and so forth. So I'm encouraging people who have an interest to know what Delco United is all about, who haven't thought to look on our webpage or haven't talked to me or anyone in Delco United, to look us up. I have some cards here, and to look us up and start, if you need seminars or you need some kind of workshops to talk about legislation, which I think every citizen of the city should be about educating themselves about how he or she collectively can impact legislation. People don't do anything. I mean, you know already, you state legislator. People respond to people who respond to them. People don't pay attention to people who don't pay attention to them. So we need to have people from Chester. As much gun violence as we've had, we've led the county, led the state, and led the nation in one sense, and I don't know who switches back and forth. They switch us up from 1 to 3 to 11. Seems like we're in the NFL, you know, one year we're number 1, next year we're number 3, whatever it is. If it's one death in this city, that's too much. So we need to have people with Delco United. We're opening that up to people. We have over 2,000 members at this point across the county. Black, white, we have some legislative people involved in it, we have local people, and I would personally like to have more people from Chester. Since we're number 1, let's be number 1 and step up to the gate and actually impact this legislation. You know, I know we don't have that much, but I do know a little bit about our police department and the shootings here in the city. Assault weapons, we have too many weapons, period. And assault weapons are leading the nation in terms of gun deaths and all. But, you know, we got these semi-automatic weapons, handguns that do the same kind of damage. And as I'm saying, we need to, one of the things we're teaching, we're gonna have some seminars on how a bill gets passed, step by step, what to do, where it is, if it's in committee, what to do, how to wait for it, how to enforce it, one way or the other. So, anyway. You know, once a politician, you start talking, you gotta stop somewhere before you start lying, so I'm gonna stop. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna stop. And I just wanted to let you know that we want to work with you, and I'd like to set something up with you. It's as early as next week, and we can come in. I've already talked to my group, and we want to help out. We want to do something. Now, I have a request. I want to give each one of you my card, but I'm asking, may I approach the bench? And then I'm done. Okay. Already. Yeah. Just don't come past the threshold.
Thank you, Evan. Evan and I have had conversations about working together to help deal with the gun violence issue here in our community. And he has so graciously consented to partnering up with us so that we can see what we can do collectively. I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that when one's house is on fire, one should not care who brings the water. And if our house is on fire, we need all the help we can get, and we appreciate his expertise and the organization's expertise, so we look forward to working with him as well. Seeing no other ones at the podium, I do want to say one thing. Mr. Turner.
Yes, sir.
Would you stand, please?
Sure.
As men, we get emotional, we do our thing. Because we're passionate about our community and things that we do. And I think I'm just as passionate, and I think Mr. Turner is just as passionate as I. But what we've seen in the last few days throughout our community, I think young people need to see men, in particular men in this community, show that they can be angry and sin not. That's important not just for Mr. Turner and myself, but it's important for young people. I always, and it's unfortunate that we can't get back to that point. I know when, in our younger days, when we would have disputes, when we were little, we'd fight. Oh, where's the page? After the fight, we drank a bottle of Thunderbird. Then we forget what we fought for. But you ended up becoming the best of friends. That was then. We have to find a way to get back to that with our young people today. And it takes people willing to tear down those walls of frustration and anger and move forward. That makes you feel better. One other thing, because I'm about transparency. I did not say what they said in that paper this morning. I opened the paper up, and if you look online right now, it'll be another headline. Now they can put the headline on what they call it, electronic stuff, social media and all that good stuff. But they can't change the headline in the paper. The headline they now placed out there is, Colin, you here? Make sure that I talked to Mr. Herron this morning. I was quite upset The headline now says, yes, the headline, well, this is the first one. The first one says, Kirkland denies Chester owns water authority. The second one says, what's the second one? The second one says, Kirkland court will decide who owns Chester Water Authority. Now you got two headlines from the same paper. My comments were this. There was a comment made by a statement that they said was made by Mr. Chris Franklin. And I called Mr. Franklin. And I talked to Mr. Franklin. Mr. Franklin said he didn't say that. The statement was in the paper that Mayor Kirkland said that the city owns the authority. I called Mr. Franklin and I called the Daily Times to let both of them know I never spoke to them. Mr. Franklin in turn says that that's not what he said. I'm a little upset and I'm thinking, well, the paper's gonna get it right. Now the paper writes this. This is a court matter. And it just bothers me, and I will respond in writing that the paper, now I know why you haven't read it before, while it would place such a headline, a divisive headline, an untruth, that's troubling to me. And so I wanted you to hear from me, and you will be reading something else. I did not have this conversation with the Daily Times. With that said, this council meeting is now adjourned.